Good morning. I had a few minutes before my Zoom hearing starts this morning. And so, since I am Zoom ready, I thought that I would give you, my clients, a few pointers on how you should handle and how you should prepare for your own Zoom conference. All right, you will notice that I am at my house. That is not because of COVID or any other reason. I have found that my sound is actually much better in a smaller home office than it is at my office down on Palafox. Well, not only because there's always lots of noises outside my window on Palafox, but also the ceilings are higher and it kind of reverberates. So when you're choosing your spot to have your Zoom conference, go ahead and pick the spot where you know that you can hear the best, where you know your sound is going to be the best. And you can do that by logging on to your own Zoom password, hitting record, recording your own video, just like I am right now, just recording yourself and seeing how it works. Okay, a couple of other tips. You are going to want to make sure that both your mute button and your stop video button are available, but you can mute yourself while you're waiting on your judge to come into your conference, okay? On your Zoom settings, you're gonna want to make sure that in your preferences, you have, the appearance button picked. And then that mostly what that does is just like, if you have wrinkles or something like that, it just kind of smooths them out. If you want that, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too. It obviously isn't going to affect your case, but it might make you feel better. There's also a way to test your sound on Zoom, output and input. So you're going to want to do that before the hearing just to double check that it is going to sound right. You'll also notice in my office, as opposed to my office at work, behind me at work, there's this big bookcase and it's got all these books and pictures of my kids. And I love it. I love looking at it, but from Zoom, it has a little bit of a discombobulated appearance. So I actually think this setup is a little better for me. You want to make sure that the things behind you aren't too distracting. In my house, I almost always have fresh flowers because my husband knows that it's my love language. So, maybe that little plastic thing, my acrylic stand over there, maybe it's a little bit. So we just do this, and then you'll see a handsome picture of my husband and my red phone and stuff like that. So you can take those things out, and obviously my kids behind, but they're not really that distracting. It's just pleasant. So you want to make sure your background is good. Also, when you're preparing for a Zoom conference, in the beginning of the conference, I am going to ask you, if you are my client, if you can hear well. All right, this is very important because most of the time, 99% of the time, there's a slight delay in the way that the voices come through. Now, if you don't say, yeah, there's a slight delay as the voices are coming through, but I can hear all right, if you accidentally interrupt a judge or you accidentally talk over a lawyer when they're trying to object to something, the judge can get very aggravated. That happened in a hearing not too long ago. And it really was because there was a delay, but our judge kind of jumped my client's ass a little bit because he appeared to have spoke over her. So anyway, all right, the other thing is one of the nice things about having my space like this is I can be on Zoom on my desktop, I can have my file on my laptop, and I can still take notes on my iPad. So this allows me to use many devices without it being too distracting. If you have a hearing that has exhibits, you need to make sure that those exhibits are in front of you. Either you've printed them or you have a way to scroll through them. So when I say in your exhibit book, Mr. Smith, please look at number 4, watching the time so I don't miss my conference. If you will look at number 4, is this your financial affidavit? Do you recognize it? You're not like, well, I don't know if I have it. So that's something you're going to want to be prepared for before your hearing, okay? The other thing is, if you are in a dark room, you need to make sure you have light that can illuminate your face. A lot of times in Zoom conferences, it looks like the top half of people are like dark. And this can be, I guess it could work for you if for some reason you don't want your facial expressions to show or whatever, but we want to create a hearing that gives as much of a real life experience for our judges as possible. And so one of the things I usually advise my clients is I like my judges to see you and your personality and your expressions and the truthfulness and, you know, the vibe. So if you're far away from your camera, really, really far, first of all, so I can look kind of weird because it looks like, you know, but if you get nice and close to your camera, make sure that you're sitting upright, and you know that your space looks good, then you're going to give the best impression to the judge. Also, you know, just make sure that if you do have glasses on and you have light, you're going to see something. So I'm looking at you right now and I have my glasses on. If I look up just a little bit, you'll see my secret ring light. And that looks super weird. Okay, so if you have glasses, just double check your, you know, to make sure that it doesn't do this alien thing. Okay. Be prepared for your Zoom hearing. Wait on objections. If you hear even a peep out of me, zip it. Okay, just zip it and let me at least finish. Okay, I might be objecting. I may not like your testimony and the direction it's going, and I might have a solution for it. You know, I might not like the testimony of the other side, or I might be trying to rehabilitate you. Also, really listen to my questions, just like you would in a real hearing. Listen to my questions. A lot of times you can understand what I need from you by listening very closely to my questions. Okay. All right. If you have questions about your Zoom hearing, you're going to get this link. You're going to read this or listen to my video, and then you're going to call the office and ask to speak with one of the paralegals or legal assistants about what you might need to do. Zoom conferences can be great. They're especially good for discovery issues or emergency issues, but they're not as good on the real meaty kid stuff and the really complicated financial stuff. So when we're forced to do those, we really need to have our P's and Q's, you know, really watch our P's and Q's, have our T's crossed and our I's dotted so that we can make the best impression. If you are a client who maybe is a little rough around the edges, and I don't, you know, particularly know if my judge is going to appreciate you or style, or they're going to be turned off by something in your appearance, I might suggest that we do a Zoom, because that allows you to, you know, I don't know, cover up a face tattoo or something if you have one. And, you know, you shouldn't have to do that. Just by the way, my personal opinion, but judges judge. That's what they do. So we want to always have our best foot forward. Also, I was going to say that you want to have a simple, like on Zoom, sometimes, you know, you don't want to have like too much jewelry or whatever, and simple clothing seems to look better. So go with a, you know, more simple look dress. And if you have to be from work, that's okay too. You can just go ahead and wear your work uniform. Our judges really do understand that, but don't dress outside of your norm. Just dress your best, the way you look the best for your court hearing. If you never wear a three-piece suit, please don't roll up in this Zoom hearing in a three-piece suit, okay? That's not authentic, and we want our clients to always be authentic. But if you wear a jacket every once in a while, and then please do that, okay? Never wear PJs. I don't have to say this to you guys. You're my clients. You already know that. All right, good luck on your Zoom conference or your Zoom hearing.